Greetings, my name is Dennis Harrington and I'm the director of the Weston Art Gallery. Today we're taking a look back at one of the most challenging and ambitious exhibitions presented at the Weston during its 25-year history. In September of 1996, I was working as the exhibition preparator at the Weston with founding director Sally Lovelarkin. While still getting our feet wet in this new space that had opened a year prior at the Aronoff Center for the Arts in 1995, we presented Domestic Comfort and Galaxy Clusters, a solo exhibition by Columbus, Ohio-based artist Todd Slaughter that comprised both levels of the Weston, which presented us with unique and demanding challenges. Todd's exhibition represented the first time we had offered an artist the entire space of the Weston. Todd Slaughter is an amazing artist with a career spanning nearly 50 years. Since 1984, he has served as a professor at Ohio State University in the Department of Art in the area of sculpture. He is well known for taking on monumental projects that pose technical challenges and innovative solutions. He has an extensive exhibition history and has completed numerous public commissions within the United States and abroad. The basic concept behind Domestic Comfort and Galaxy Clusters was the notion that with an infinite number of unknown galaxies in the universe, they could potentially be comprised of anything. Todd's unique approach to that idea was to utilize everyday objects we encounter on a daily basis and transform them into a series of galaxy clusters throughout both levels of the Weston. The first and most challenging space was our street-level atrium, which was a large voluminous space with 25 and 44-foot ceilings bounded by two glass walls on the north and west facade of the Aronoff Center. One of Todd's first questions when presenting his exhibition idea to Sally and I was whether this space could be darkened to create the overall effect he wanted. My initial response was this would be insane because we would have to cover all the glass windows, which was a huge area. Of course, once we committed to the exhibition, that is exactly what we did. Todd wanted to cover the windows with a blue theater gel, which required finding a source to provide us with enough material to get the job done. After doubling the material and cutting it in 10-foot lengths, it was applied to the window mullions on the inside to reduce heat buildup that could have potentially broken the glass, which would not be good. The material was applied to the window mullions with 3M removable tape pads. We used hundreds, possibly thousands of these, and vertical strips to create a grid. We were able to access the majority of the windows with a vertical lift, but relied on the assistance of window washers who had a 60-foot extension ladder to install the theater gel at the highest level above the staircase going into the lower gallery. The second challenge was hanging the assorted sculptures Todd wanted to populate the space. In preparing for this, I had discovered quite by accident that the light fixtures mounted in the suspended drywall ceiling could be removed to gain access above to the structural deck. We found a way to use a powder-actuated gun utilized by suspended ceiling installers to fire individual wire hangers into the structural deck. This enabled us to cable from these wire connectors to hang the individual fiberglass forms from. We used a scissor lift in the space for the first time to transport the individual sculptures to their hanging locations on platforms, and this really worked well and allowed us to do this with relative ease. In the taller section of the atrium space, which has a 44-foot ceiling, we had to hang a series of large-scale architectural models constructed from lightweight translucent polycarbonate sheeting. Although relatively light, we had to string cable clotheslines across the space to suspend the individual sculptures from the cable line with monofilament. And finally, to light the sculptures, Todd created his own unique lighting system, which he ingeniously created from cemetery flower holders, which are essentially a metal funnel, combined with low voltage lights that we could mount on the atrium columns and other locations in the space, which allowed us to provide really dramatic lighting on each individual sculpture. Moving into the lower galleries of the Weston and continuing with the transformation of our spaces, we painted the entire lower galleries a dark gray to kind of continue this darkened atmosphere that was begun in the street level space with the blue theater gel. And at my suggestion, we also removed all of the ceiling tiles to kind of open up the space, expand it vertically, but also to expose the ceiling grid which for me kind of suggested coordinates in space. Todd liked that idea, and kind of fit in with the whole galaxy cluster theme that was established throughout the gallery. The first piece that people encountered was this grouping kind of trying to find you, which is this inverted pitcher, silver-leafed pitcher with a violin inserted on the interior with this rod going through it, which was attached to a motor above the ceiling, and this whole piece slowly rotated, kind of suggesting kind of an orbiting sort of idea. And then it was flanked by these two cone-shaped pieces that were gold-leafed and contained dentures, which will be a theme that's actually repeated in the back gallery. But again, Todd using these kind of familiar forms, but presented in a very usual context, to create this kind of mysterious forms hovering in space. And then also we built this divider wall to create a space on the other side of the gallery for this amazing suspended elliptical plane of burnt dollhouse furniture. This was a challenging installation in that the furniture was very challenging to handle without damaging it. It was suspended on these very thin pieces of monofilament. And then immersed within these were these really beautiful silver-leaf whirling dervishes that slowly rotated from these motors that were above the ceiling. Todd had come up with an ingenious system to pre-install this at a studio and then enabled us to translate it to the gallery grid, where these were done in kind of individual sections that we could just then place in the ceiling. It just was the challenge of trying to unravel them without damaging them that was very difficult, but we were able to do it. And then also we had a raking light across this floating series group of debris, and it created these wonderful shadows on the back wall. And then finally, as moving into the back gallery, this piece, Beyond the Gates of the Animal Kingdom, Beyond the Gates of the Animal Kingdom, consisted of 22 suspended cats that were created from orthodontic plastic, which is used to make dentures, and really unusual material. Then embedded in each one of the cats in this material were actual human teeth, so kind of carrying forward from that entry piece. And these cats were suspended below and above the ceiling, and some were encrusted with salt, like the figures upstairs. Others had growth on them of crystals. And then finally, in another unusual request from Todd, several of the cats were filled with dry ice so that they would frost over. We were only able to do this because of expense on a weekly basis on the weekend. And then the other challenge was that as they would slowly defrost, they would deposit water on the floor, which presented a slip hazard. And we had to come up with a solution for that, which was placing these small circular mirrors beneath these particular cats to collect the water, and that seemed to work well. So this was a great finish to the exhibition, and the overall transformation of both levels of the Weston with its blue theater jail upstairs, creating this kind of church-like, very ethereal light and these wonderful suspended sculptures there, and the descending into the darkness of the lower galleries created this very immersive experience for viewers. And despite the challenges and labor-intensive aspect of the installing the exhibition, it was truly one of the more stunning exhibitions we presented in the Weston's history, and also very rewarding for our staff and the visitors that view the exhibition. I hope you enjoyed the tour today and look forward to presenting another in the future. Thank you.